So good morning. It's Wednesday Wisdom with Elizabeth Eleanor, and I'm here with the beautiful Jenni Madison. Jenni and I have known each other sort of like as acquaintances more than anything, but we were just working it out. It must have been about 10 years ago when Jenni ran a business called Coconut Magic. And so when Jenni came on talking about is going to be talking about spirituality and intuition, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, what's going on? So and only to find out that part of her life has morphed and changed. And so welcome, Jenni. So lovely to have you on.
Thank you. It's lovely to see you again.
Yeah. So we've got a mutual friend that was the one that said, go and check out this, it's called Coconut Magic, and it's an amazing coconut oil product. It's the best that I've ever experienced. Tastes like real coconuts, creamy, amazing product. So Coconut Magic is the product. But can you tell me what's been happening? Where are you at now if you're not doing Coconut Magic?
Well,
where do I start?
Well, life evolves and passions and interests evolve. And the last 3 to 4 years, well, actually, my whole journey with Coconut Magic felt like a guided journey. It began from synchronistic events that led me to here and led me to there. So trusting and following inner guidance has always been important to me and valuable. And I feel that it's not just me, it's everybody. I don't think anyone would disagree with that, to trust our inner compass, especially when we're clear. And the challenge really is in finding that clarity. And there's also this beautiful flow of life that comes about when that clarity is there, or when the channels are open and insight appears. And with this flow just comes life. It unfolds, and trusting that and following that. And I find that the whole journey, not just with Coconut Magic, but all of life, evolves in that way. And so in my case, with my business, it had a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's not over. It's still running. It's still beautiful. And it's just being run by a beautiful family, actually, in New South Wales now. And so the journey for me went where my interests and time and energy, it's almost as though I felt like it deepened from health. The health and well-being journey is really not just about the body. I really took a deep interest in how the mind works. Intuition is an aspect of mind, and meditation became a very, very deep and profound practice for me. And that led me to opening new channels, I guess, of self-expression and ways to be. And, really at the end of the day, it's how do I want to spend my time?
Yeah, absolutely. And we evolve, right? Like we evolve, as we grow and as we experience ourselves and become more and more aware on, of conscious, the conscious aspects of ourselves. We evolve and morph into more and more, fine-tuning what we're here for, right? And each step we're here for, like Coconut Magic was definitely part of your journey, because I remember that you had a health challenge that sort of started that off, finding the best quality, pure product you could. And so, tell me what happened. Like, so you were just saying your husband sort of took over, and so what is it that led you to, what is it that you're doing now, for example? What's happening for you now?
So now I teach in the field of spirituality, and I have an online business, Divine Yoga. So I work very much with the philosophy and the wisdom of the science and the science of yoga. And I do one-to-one coaching, and I'm just working now on a program for that, to expand in that field as well. So I have a meditation course online, really, really for my sharing now. You know, the coconut was really lovely in sharing that, cleansing the body, purifying the body. And I also went quite deeply into fasting for transformation and fasting for purification, which actually did start the coconut journey as well. And I went more into that and teaching and guiding people on that path. Now the purification comes in purifying the mind and the heart. And if we were going to spin this back to intuition, if I were to give people a few just simple essentials of intuition, it's really important to have a calm heart. Fluctuation of emotion or that can disturb the clarity, that can disturb the insight, and also a still mind. And that has, please excuse me if you don't agree, but that's not easy, right?
No, not because we're being, you know, we're conditioned in the chaos, right? We're conditioned. Yes, the mind is.
We are.
Yes.
The spirit is pure. The spirit is really still.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Our true essence. But the mind, and this is why I love the whole, I don't know that we spend enough time really understanding mind and its relationship to our true nature or our pure spirit or consciousness. And that to me is where spirituality begins. And so to delve into that, it is a process of self-exploration. And just to those points of intuition, the calm heart, the still mind, and then the openness, just being able to relax and be open to receive. And I know you do a lot of work around that as well, receiving and accepting, receiving abundance, and how important it is to relax. That's where really my work moves around now, working with people in those areas and just learning how to take self-care, really deep self-care.
That's so beautiful. And I just wanted to go back to something that you just touched on, is we can often, you know, these different modalities can often be so focused on what it is that we need to be doing, you know, like the soft heart, the openness. And yet if we don't address the mind, as you were just saying, the mind, the monkey mind, you know, that aspect of ourselves that identifies with being here on the planet and in the chaos, it is going to keep rattling. And so to address the mind is just as important as part of the process, right? Tell me a little bit about more what.
Yeah. So what
are you doing?
True yoga, what yoga teaches us is the mind is the mind, and it's born in fear, it's born in negativity. But we are not the mind. And that is a one-on-one spirituality. You know this. We're not the mind, we're not the body. And so what true yoga really teaches us is to identify with our true nature. But to do that, we must no longer identify with our false nature. And that process is a process of becoming really still within and literally separating. And you've probably heard of the term witness consciousness. So once we become still and we begin to observe, and then at some point we begin to realize the mind as the object as opposed to the experience. And then we come to realize ourselves as the one who's experiencing
in the mind. Yeah.
The mind. And that is really the essence of, I guess, what I work with and what I teach. I'm about to record a masterclass, which I'm going to be giving away on my website. And it's called The Beautiful Mind, because we are the observer of the mind and the consciousness witnessing the mind. And really, the mind is truly where our inspiration and creativity and genius can flow when we allow it to. And in order to allow it to, it's really important to separate ourselves, because if we are not witnessing the mind, if we become subject of it, we drop into it, it can actually also become our greatest enemy.
Yeah.
But clearly we are not dual by nature, not our true nature, but the mind is. And this experience of the world is one of duality. So the mind can experience the depths and depths of the lows and the darkness, the depressions. You know this, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Dark nights of the soul and
yeah,
sort of things that go on. And we all know this. And yet those moments of clarity and inspiration and genius and creativity and intuition, this is what it is.
Yeah.
The subtlest that's so close. It's like the voice of God, the voice of your own soul. And it's just filtering in there so gently and so beautifully to that higher aspect of mind. I sometimes like to refer to our experience of human incarnation as a higher and a lower nature.
Yes.
Where are we going to focus? Where do you want to focus? And the part that when we lose track, and I've done this so much myself, is we don't realize we actually have a choice. We have a choice where to focus and where we are going to exert the will. Are we going to keep it here in the higher self, the spiritual self, the true, or are we going to drop it into that mundane?
It's so empowering, that statement, because so many people don't recognize that they've actually got a choice. So many people, and yes, women, but this will be out to the greater community as well. Identify with the mind as that's who they are. And so a couple of things that you just said that I really loved was, like, one of the things that we need to be aware of is not to bash ourselves up about the mind, but to use it as a tool to observe, step back, recognize ourselves as not just the mind, but that we are the mind as well, that there's that, where our identity as an individual is, that's a tool we've got, and we can utilize it to live in our genius, to be in our creative nature, step into those things. And we've got the choice to have that, like, look at that from that higher perspective of the higher mind and open ourselves up. That's when you just even perceive that you've got a choice, that's when the heart calms down, right? That's when,
that's right.
I have a choice. Right. Everything drops down, everything slows, the heart opens, I can do this, it's not just for these people, it's for all of us. And we have the opportunity to step into that and to make the choice, which part of us are we going to listen to, the higher mind or the lower mind, and be in our intuitive nature to know which one is, it's like the two wolves, right? Which one are you going to feed?
And that's when life's challenges or life's problems truly become a gift, because they give us an opportunity to witness our triggers, our fears, that lower self, the insecurities, all that darkness that surfaces in the midst of a life, adverse situation, and to truly see it, and even to start to see our own sadness, our own anger as it arises. And this is a really important part of the process. I call my process taking your mind to the divine, because that's what I work.
I love that.
That's what I work in. The divine has attributes and qualities that, just beautiful attributes and qualities. And then, so in the hard times, in challenging times, and these can even be small things. Michael Singer calls them low-hanging fruit, just simply reacting to bad weather or reacting to a slow driver. Those little things, they're such a waste of time and energy. So that's okay, let's work through those. But when life really presents you with a challenge that rattles you at your core, that's when deep shifts can happen. And observing the mind saying, I want this, I don't want this, I like this, I don't like this, that duality, as opposed to just relaxing and seeing reality as it is. In my learning, and I do a lot of reading with the spiritual scriptures, particularly from the East, the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, these things. And a lot of it really does come back to seeing reality as it is. And for the most part, until we're really clear, somewhat enlightened, as much as I don't like really, somewhat, really, to be really clear, is this is an attribute of like a saintly person, because they're not clouded anymore by their own veils of conditioning and illusion. And really, actually, that conditioning and illusion is as simple as my mind's telling me I like this and I don't like this. I want this and I don't like that. That is enough.
The duality, yeah.
Exactly. It is.
Yeah.
Enough. And yet we're so habituated and conditioned to do that. And when we observe the mind doing it and just go and then continue to see reality as it is, that's when clear intuition starts to, and guidance starts to come, because I'm no longer being guided by my past habits and conditioning or experiences. You know how many times I have a German Shepherd dog and I go take her for a walk, and how many people go, oh no, don't come near me, I was bitten by a German Shepherd once. It doesn't mean my dog's going to bite you.
Yeah, wow. Very real. It's a perfect example, Jenny. Yeah.
It's very real, and I see it all the time. She's never bitten anybody. Even the little dogs that come, not saying she wouldn't. I'm not saying she's a shepherd. No,
but the conditioned response is an example of like that trigger, right? That, you see something out in your subconscious mind has gone, oh, this is danger from a past experience, and so it's danger for me now.
It's not reality, and it's not reality. And that's also a low-hanging fruit example.
Yeah.
The deeper the trauma or the pain goes, the more clouded we become. So it really is, my work is really about, come back to your first question, removing those veils. And what comes from that is a deep sense of peace, acceptance, and really ultimately a love and happiness that is unconditional, because we can really then navigate the path of life and what life brings to us, because let's face it, we're really not in control. There is a higher force. And
and that's fun in itself, right?
Yeah,
like that's really fun, not, like letting go of the control, knowing that you're being guided, like the surprise of that, and what's going to happen next, like being in the curiosity of and innocence of it.
Exactly. And really, I think many listening, yourself, myself, we can look back and think, oh, that was the toughest time of my life, but look what came of it. And how much did we beat around? I don't want this. And yet if we had just relaxed and let the higher, and it's really important to not, I guess, I don't want to really go into the laws of karma here. That's a whole hour-long conversation, but it's so important to go into that flow. In evolving. The evolution is so, it really makes a huge difference to our own evolution. We don't hold each other back. We don't, each other and ourselves back. We don't contract when we say clearly. And so we're not sitting in fear and regret or shame or anything. We're just open and happy, because we're alive.
Yes. And when you're in that space, right, one of the things that, just as an example, when you're in that space of openness to exploring, to allowing the guidance, when something does come up that may trigger you because you've got an old pattern still there, and we're human, right? When it comes up, when you're in that space of being open and aware, you can stop and look, what's going to happen here? What is it that this is showing me? Where am I going with this? And that's when you've got that real opportunity to completely open up and go, okay, come on, guide me. My intuition's going to walk me and navigate me through what this new path is,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
Yeah.
what does the bigger force, what does the greater will want? Because
Yeah.
my will's conditioned, my little
Yeah.
will. But how can I tune in and connect into that greater will? And that greater will is always going to serve everybody.
Yeah.
Not just the self. It's completely selfless. There's something beautiful that came to mind, Elizabeth, when you were speaking then, as the triggers come in, because that's our biggest challenges, right? It's fine when everything's going well, my finances are flowing, my husband's giving me all the love I want, everything's happening. I live in a beautiful place, great. Fine, that's easy times, right? But when things are triggering and that's challenging, oh, I didn't like how he spoke to me like that, and da 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 da, and oh my god, I lost all my money. Okay, when these things happen, because we're not always in control, as much as we don't want them to, they still happen. Then that energy, those triggers, what you call triggers, when that energy starts to rise, when we can step out of the way, what happens then is, I was doing a lot around this recently, was what to do with those energies. Okay, we certainly don't want to suppress them because they're just going to keep wanting to come up. So we're going to keep having more and more of these confronting situations, or we're going to have nightmarish dreams. They're going to continue to come up. We don't want to express them because these energies, well, what do we want to put this dark negative energy out there for? We don't want to be doing that. Expressing is not necessary. It may let it go for the moment, but it doesn't actually. What we really want to do is transmute that energy. And again, I'm going to come back to yoga and the process of yoga, both movement, breath work, meditation. That allows us to be really present to the energy as it's coming up. And it wants to stop here, okay? Because once it gets to the heart says, oh, this hurts. Oh, this is painful. And then the mind kicks in and says, I don't want that. That's no good. Let's push it back down. But if we can, again, separate ourselves from what the mind and the heart are saying and actually just observe the experience, we then transmute the energy and we then bring it up and we release it where it can never return again, because it releases into that space of non-duality, that space of oneness, that space where there is light, but there is no dark. You see, here we have the light, the dark, da, da, da. So the process of transmutation, and the way I saw it as I was thinking of this the other day, was that is a precursor to transformation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lasting transformation. It won't happen, this lasting transformation, unless we transmute those energies as they come up. And they come up, as you beautifully said, with those triggers.
Because as you were talking, I was just thinking about, when you're living in your intuitive nature, it's interesting, I don't know if you're aware, because we haven't spoken, but a little bit more than 18 months ago, I had a 4.5 centimetre brain tumour. And yeah, so that was, one of those moments. It's, essentially a trigger. And so when it happened, it was really interesting watching everybody else's response, because, so many people said, oh my gosh, I bet you're, freaked out. And I went, actually, my first response was, oh bugger. It was like, is that what's been going on, Yeah. But because I stepped into that, as soon as I found out, I never assessed it as or judged it as a label or whatever. I went straight into that space of, okay, I'm just about to go on a journey. What is this journey? Where am I going? Am I doing it my way? Am I going to the hospital? I tuned in completely to be guided on which way to go, not from my lower mind that said, as a spiritual healer, you should be healing yourself, like this is what you've got to do. I tuned in, where do I go here? And I really sat in it and did all the stuff that, I needed to do with my health, and straight, kicked in. But yeah, just completely guided the whole way through. And because of that, and this is, I only mention it because we're we've been talking along these lines, is because of that, the whole process was just this amazing, beautiful, unbelievable experience from the moment that it, like, I got, go and get it out, so okay, so I'm going to the hospital, I like the little things that happened in alignment. The last nurse that I spoke to in the ward, her name was Angel. The first nurse that I opened my eyes to, her name was Crystal. I had 3 months off working. I get a 5-figure payout that I wasn't expecting while I'm sitting in the bed. The surgeon said she opened my head up and the whole thing popped out of her. She got the whole thing. Oh. I opened my eyes with no pain. Like, I was out really quickly. They kept on apologizing in the trauma ward because they said, procedure is you should still be sick and we've got to keep you here for a certain amount of time. But they gave me a single room when I don't have health insurance. Like, just everything just was this flow because I stepped back.
Exactly.
I stepped back. I never let my lower mind take control. And in fact, even that statement is incorrect because that means that infers that I rejected it, but it wasn't even there.
Oh, wow.
I just went straight into this is what's happening. Okay, this is going to be an experience. Yes. And so because of that, the flow that happens, so how powerful we are when we're in that heart space, that connection, that higher mind, all of the things that we've just been speaking about, and the breath work that you're talking about, the meditation, stretching. When I came out, I thought it was the nurse, the doctor said, oh, you will be in pain because all your neck's traumatized. So I went, yeah, of course, that's what's going on. It's not numb because of the anesthetic. So I started stretching and never had any pain, like just understood my body and that connection. And so I'm so excited that you've, where you're going, I can, like, this is your mission, right?
I
can feel it, like it's, just following. Yeah.
Your story is beautiful. And you said, sorry, but this was just 4 months ago, did you say?
No, 18 months ago. 18 months ago, yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
It's not very long ago. That's a big one. It's not a small.
It was such a beautiful experience though. So, I'm still I'm still numb in the back because it was like, a big, they pretty much cut my head open. But yeah, it like just being able to really stay. It was just, and I've only shared a little bit of like some of the things in there, like, was just amazing, miracle stuff, like my operation was cancelled. That's a long story, but because of that, my operation was cancelled and I got the opportunity to see the man that his life was saved because I didn't pack my bags in time. Like there was all this stuff. It was so beautiful.
Universe works in mysterious ways, doesn't it? And our mind,
absolutely.
And just on something you said there, and I know we may be running out of time, but what you said was you didn't listen to your lower mind, and yet this can be a big mistake we make in spirituality. We spiritualize the ego or the mind to tell us how it should or shouldn't be. That's not surrender. That's not intuition. That's not, because God or intuition, the flow of the divine, doesn't judge. The experiences are not there. We're just there to really surrender to them. And that's your example is beautiful. And look what came of it. As you said.
What was that, sorry?
And look what came of it.
Yeah. Oh, it was such a
touch the surface.
Yeah. It was such a cool process, like, and so many people don't understand that, but it was, to be able to, and through that process, like opening up to more, I remember laying in the bed at the end and having an image of me be in the quantum field and be in the individual at the same time, and getting that I need to share my story, because I tend to keep these sort of things to myself. And
Private, I guess.
yeah, or it's just, it's just my journey, like I don't think to share it, that if
sharing the teachings is very valuable though. Sharing the teachings.
Yes. Yeah. And so that's what it really helped me to step up to that aspect of myself. So Jenni, you just said that you're creating a masterclass that's going to be free on your website. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so there's already a few free offerings online. There's some guided meditation sequences, then there's some yoga classes, yin yoga. And the next project I've got on my top to-do list is to create a masterclass, so I can begin to, I guess, invite people and share with people what it means to take your mind to the divine, and how to find that beautiful mind and find it and live in it, experience it, and also to find the tools to take you there for when that lower mind wants to kick in, like what you did. Especially, that's a big challenge. To be given that news alone would have been like, whoa. Let alone working through the whole process and evolving, not dropping into some fears.
Mm-hmm.
The masterclass, you've really, like, that story is just wow. So the masterclass is about your beautiful mind and how we take the mind to the divine. So yes, I'm going to be producing that this week. It'll be on my website, and there's lots of other things I've been working on during this last 12 months since.
Awesome. So when we're finished, if you can drop all those details so that people can get in contact with you, and so because you do have so many things online, that opens up to whoever wants to check it out. Yeah, absolutely. So jump in and check out that link that Jenni's got there. It's been such a pleasure connecting with you, and it's been a great conversation.
It's sort of a small amount of time, yet I feel like we covered a lot.
Yeah.
We got into some deep territory.
Yeah,
both of us.
Yeah. Well, we should potentially have you back on to do that karma stuff. Like you said, that's another topic altogether. So maybe that's for another session.
Karma is a beautiful one to it helps to understand karma. See, like your experience, you had to have that.
Mm-hmm.
That experience, no matter what you did, no matter how much MCT oil and coconut oil you put into your body, your brain.
Yeah.
It was just something your soul needed to experience, and so did, this is the beauty, so did all those other souls around you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's where I start to get all teary-eyed.
Absolutely.
Everything is connected from eons. 13.8 billion years this earth has been in creation. The dots have been connecting, and they will continue to connect. And we are just playing dance. Yeah. Yes. We're just dancing this life. When we can really relax into that dance and move with it, shut that lower mind, not shut it up. I know it's such a privilege.
It's such a privilege, isn't it, when you can see that, like, it's such a privilege to be here and to be part of that dance.
It is. It really is. Not just with us and the animals and everything, the nature, everything we get to share that dance with. This is a beautiful planet. We're not meant to be miserable and suffering, even if we have challenging news like what you did. We're still not meant to be miserable and suffering. And you had a big one. I mean, I watch people miserable and suffering over small things. I know. But now's the time, right? It's like in human history. Oh, we could just keep going, actually. But in human history, it's like, you and I have been on this path for a long time, right? And we've seen a lot evolve through the spiritual, process journey. And so, but right now it seems to be like really pertinent for people to wake up and to really, understand that they're creators and that they've got that choice, like you said. So, yeah. Called free will. I was reading in a scripture recently that we're given free will, But ultimately, we're choosing, there's only one thing we choose. We either choose to look away from the divine, or we choose to look toward the divine. And
Yes.
there's just that one choice. If that one
Yeah.
choice, and if we can muster up the energy, and this is what yoga helps us to do, the energy, the will, the clarity to choose wisely,
Yes.
to look toward the divine. Yeah, life is nothing but.
I love that. That's a great it's a great and finish off, because that's such a beautiful tip. One choice. Yeah. Thank you so much, Jenni. Thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. I hope everyone else did. Would love to hear your thoughts in the chats, and jump on to Jenni's website and check it out and see what she's got to offer. Thank you so much.
I'll pop the link below. Thank you, Elizabeth. And everybody, thank you, everybody who came to watch.
Take care, hun.
Bye-bye. Ciao, ciao. Bye-bye.